gentlemen, let's call
That was
this,
okay. We just kind of stopped.
this work session of the Snellville Mayor and Council to 33.
6:33.
Oh, 6:33, yes. The session is at 6:33. Okay. First item on the work session agenda is a request for the use of City Hall. First of all, do we have any correspondence? I don't believe we did.
Could you hit number 1 first?
No! I don't want to go there. I want to go there later. Does anybody have anything on the regular agenda they want to discuss?
I'd like to talk about correspondence. Do we have?
Let me check. Like, geez, they don't do the stuff in Sugar Hill, do they, man? You don't have any revolts like this in your room.
I guess you could start at number 1.
We'll come visit you.
I bet they do. In Sugar Hill, I bet they start at number 1.
Bobby has one
Since
item.
the Barbara's opened the door, I guess I'm gonna go ahead and.
Okay, go ahead.
The moratorium. Is that for new applications, or is it like Walmart and Sam's have typically always? Okay,
Yeah.
because I know they've always had some in their parking lots, and I don't know if that is if Walmart has applied and they got one they're working on, or how that has to be applied for every year.
I don't know what the timing is. We were trying to, first read tonight, I think.
Yeah, we'll get them in
And
in
so
time.
we're trying to beat the 4th of July target.
Right.
And plenty of time to get everybody where they can get a permit.
Well, that was the only thing I was questioning, is do they have something in place that this would precede? Or
They're gonna
make,
have to- they
or
would
make void anything they currently have, if they have anything?
No, there's nothing currently in limbo waiting for that to pass. Everything.
Okay.
When we passed the
That was my
moratorium,
only
there's
question.
no open
Just
application.
make sure we had, because sometimes that's, we don't.
We were sensitive to the industry needing planning time for permitting ahead of the 4th of July. And so that's been our rush.
That was my only question.
Is there anything else on that agenda? Anyone like-
Item 11C, I'm gonna move to postpone. Ms. Christian had a death in the family and couldn't meet with the commission. So we didn't have an opportunity to go through vetting.
So that's item C.
New business C, yeah.
Anything else on the agenda that anyone would like to discuss? Can I go on now, Mr.
Yes,
I
I
go
think
to-
number
okay,
2 would be
number two.
appropriate now.
You know how these numbers people are.
Correspondence, who said we don't have any correspondence? City attorney's report?
All quiet.
How about that? Excuse me, say that one more time.
All quiet.
All quiet. Everybody hear that? Now we'll go to number 4. Discussion, under discussion items, request for the use of City Hall for the Flag Day ceremony. I've got a request, I'll read it to you. It says, please let me know if the Flag Day Committee can again use the front of City Hall steps on June 14th at 10 a.m., earlier at 8 a.m. to set up for this year's celebration. Also, if it is possible to have access to the community room to serve soft drinks and coffee during this time. I'll be happy to pay the fees for the use of community room if there are any. I appreciate that all council be present again this year as we recognize the birthday of our flag for the 5th time in a row here in our great city. Mr. Sanders, please confirm with me if the color guard is able to help out again to receive the flag and then flying it on our City Hall flagpole. This year's flag has been flown by the office of Senator Johnny Isaacson. We are in the final stage in preparing the program. The theme this year is United We Stand. Mike Sabag. So, discussion. Don't all speak up at once.
I don't have any issue.
I'm sorry?
I don't have any issue with it.
I don't care.
No care.
Roy, with can you, I guess, the flag, I mean, the
Well, that's
color,
up to the chief, that would be, he would have to coordinate that with the chief.
right, and that's what I would, was he talking about a high school color guard,
Yeah,
or is he
that was
talking
my
about our
question.
police color guard, or what's he
ROTC.
speaking of?
You would have to speak with Mr. Sabat.
Does he know?
You'd have to ask Mr. Sabat. I would say the only thing is that in the past, I know that when Mr. Sabat was on council, he had a lot of staff involvement in that my only requirement would be that it's not a staff event. So you'd have to, you know, he's more than welcome to use the community room, but it's up to him to staff and clean up and all that. Just like anyone else that would be using it. So they don't have a problem with that.
We'll need to check to see if we don't have a conflict in the community room.
That would be up to him, but as far as council, I guess councils, we're good as long as it's not ties up the use of any staff. Is that good? Yep. We will waive the community room fee because he is a former citizen.
Cool. I'm good.
Okay, discussion of city seal, logo, and signs.
Several years ago, the council passed a resolution adopting the seal officially for all documents, records, publications, and other business transactions of the city. We have, through the DDA and the wayfinding signage effort, we have come up with a logo that we'd like to standardize. And outside of these documents, records, publications, other business transactions, we'd like to adopt this, have you adopt, maybe we put it in the form of a resolution, adopt this as the logo for the city. When you've got, we're about to talk about signage here in a little while, whether it's signs, whether it's shirts, whether it's brochures, that we standardize behind all the work that's gone into this. Does anybody have a problem with that?
Council?
I don't.
Cool.
On our other seal, we didn't trademark it or anything, right?
No.
We just, but through resolution, we just adopted that was gonna be the seal that would be used.
Right, the one that's on the letterhead
Right.
there.
That was done years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, when was that?
2006,
Yeah.
Well, and I think that needs to stay the official seal.
Seal.
without a doubt,
Yeah,
because it goes on documents and it's
Yeah.
on the.
Yeah, I don't see the other, I don't see that thing replacing any of the standard seal applications.
No,
Yeah.
that's-
right.
This
Not
is
enough
more,
signage.
I see this more signage, marketing, you know, those kind
Branding.
Branding,
of branding,
exactly.
whatever you wanna
Right,
call it.
Exactly.
Right.
I see it more in that effort than I do seeing it
Agreed.
in an official.
Agreed.
You think that needs to be in the form of a resolution?
It just depends on, you know, how formal you wanna be.
Why don't we just put it on the next public hearing agenda as a resolution? We'll make it a resolution and we'll do it, and then it's adopted officially.
And then the resolution can delineate more exactly what it's gonna be
Yeah.
used for. Then
And
there,
that's what
then
I-
there's an understanding
Yeah, that's
of
good.
why we're doing this and what the expectation of the seal to be used for.
We just
is.
needed some clarification.
Okay, now that takes us into signs.
The signs, we had a couple of meetings regarding the completion of the town green. One of those involved important stakeholders, farmers market, staff, just looking at the green, how it was gonna be used, what everybody's needs were, make sure we had met those. And we had, in every case, but one issue came up regarding signage. And we, in talking to Eric and then widening the discussion with the mayor, we felt like we needed to talk about signs and specifically signs for signage for city-related entities. And we came up with farmers market, staff, parks and recreation, Give Hunger the Boot, and the Snellville Arts Commission. And in talking internally with the planning staff, with Eric, with Brian, we came up with I guess the form of a policy where we would, we currently, we have located 7 different locations on city property where we would allow standardized signage, or at least a standardized sign structure that follows the branding and the marketing study and adopted work that we had done over the last 2 years, where it would be a standard 4x8 structure that followed the color scheme that we were using, and to stay out of the way of the message, we could put perhaps the logo on a pedestal on the top of the sign, and allow the standard 4x8 or 2x4, or I think you guys have a 2x6 sign, the farmer's market, as long as it was within that that adopted marketing structure, the form of the sign, the structure of the sign. We would make these areas available for the signs. There was Tom created, the council created an entity earlier this year, the Community Events Board. In talking to staff, we felt like that would be the perfect organization to get, I would think, get everybody's calendar. What every institution here, every one of these groups, put a calendar together for what your needs were, what your annual needs were, and that board would decide where the signs go on these locations. Who needs January, who needs February, and we would divide, that board could make the decisions to divide when and where these signs went according to the need of the organization. We feel like we might be able to come up with some more, but we're talking about Wisteria. The current sign, I think, Give Hunger the Boot is out there. We also could come to the other side of the street and go on the westernmost property line to put a sign up. We talked about Oak Road, the southwest corner of City Hall out here that abuts Cobblestone Business Park. We talked about the Passive Park, the property lines at the Passive Park. Oak Road gets a lot of traffic. Forest Road, we own a piece of property, gets a lot of traffic coming in and out of town. And Lenora Church at the park, we think we could use 2 areas out there, maybe even 3. So it's to address, to kind of provide some structure and a policy form. This is what the staff is recommending. So it's open for discussion.
Let me expand a little bit more on it, because we just came out of a meeting about this, and basically, we really think that, and since you all have agreed that the logo is our logo, we really feel that we need to brand with that logo. So that logo needs to be on that sign somewhere. We just want to standardize the colors and standardize the look, so that, again, we're branding. That doesn't mean you have to go out and spend like we did out here in the park for these signs. I mean, you can make a sign like you're making them now, you just make sure that the colors, but I take that back. You're gonna have to make a sign that's got sides on it, and it's gonna have, some kind of a pediment on it where you can put the logo, okay? Maybe we could even get that logo stenciled somewhere, so we could get the logo stenciled, so that it could be used as a stencil. What we want to get away from is the signs that are bent over and falling down, and the pipe signs with the banners. I mean, all that we want to make history. This is an opportunity now where we got our town green, we've got a new sign all over that green, they all look great. It's an opportunity for us to carry that now throughout the city. Now, if, let's say the farmer's market's a good example. Let's say you're gonna put a sign on private property, up at, for, Hilltop, let's say, all we ask is that you use the same format, okay? That, I don't know really what a paste is what I call it, or a grout colored, you know, structure, and then the maroon background with the gold logo, and then your sign on it. Okay, so I mean, it's really not asking to change too much, except that it'll be uniform. Those are the only signs that city entities will use, but we allow you to make them yourself. We just use, you know, use common sense, I guess. I don't know what else to say, but.
Well, over time too, people are going to identify this logo and this color with an event. I think you're gonna get more attention. This is the sign out on 78 now. These are not, these are $6,000 a piece. These aren't feasible. But a simpler sign like this with a logo, either on the top side, that's something that we feel like everybody can afford.
Let's, I'm gonna ask Kurt this, because Kurt, you're making your 3x6 signs. The only thing you're gonna be changing now is color. What does it cost you to make one of your 3x6 signs?
Materials are about maybe $50 or something.
Okay, so again, we're not asking anybody to go out, pardon me?
That doesn't include the sign.
Exactly. But so it's not like we're asking everybody to go out and spend $4,000 or $5,000 for signs. And again, they're always reusable. It's just, you have to take the time to make that outline, you know, make the, I'm more than willing to help lay it out or show people how to do it or help any way I can. I'm more than happy to do that till we get them built. Free. No charge.
Free.
I don't know that that's allowed.
While we're
It is free, it is.
refining legal points, the reason city can do this with its own entities is that cities are exempt from their own sign ordinance, and that doesn't sound exactly fair, but it's the law. That it's okay to do that, and particularly there's a restriction on city owning the property, city entities. The one that's a little different is Give Hunger the Boot. There is no real organization, as I understand it, for that terminology. That is a mayor and council initiative. And so that's sort of the distinction between it. Now, it's for a nonprofit. So when your public areas get utilized, it takes this board or one of those other boards, you know, really participating in the event. The co-op cannot put a sign in this area. It has to be a governmental related entity to be utilizing this.
Southeast Co-op can't, but Give Hunger the Boot can.
Right. And and the distinction there is that it's the mayor and council's initiative in that effort that, and you can do that, you can expand the list of people by doing those kinds of things, but not everybody is going to have access to the public unless the council takes the action. And you've got to look at your charter in those situations and make sure you're consistent. So, you know, helping and feeding hungry people is within your what you're authorized to do under your charter. So now there's another distinction that's if it's off premises, and I think we used an example, the hilltop sign area. That is not on a city-owned piece of property, and so you're in a different situation with that. That's not one that's exempt. So your sign is going to have to meet your sign ordinance requirements in those non-exempt areas in order to be placed there. That's somebody else giving up their sign location to you for the content of what you're going to advertise, which we can't control anyway either. So last thing is that if we have an area that's a private area and we want to add to the 7 areas for it to be a public sign, then we can do that by easement right too. And then you fall within the guidelines of that's publicly owned right, and you can put the signs there as you see fit. So,
which is another option, okay? Is that the House Council, I know you're gonna get, this is the first time I've discussed it with several of it individually, but Is there any questions or any concerns on?
The only concern I have is that most signs are done on 4x8, 4x8 sheets. If you get a big sign, you get a 4x8.
Okay.
All the stat signs were 4x8.
Well, that gives a stat sign, but that's not
Well,
all signs.
No, I mean, but the basic, if you're gonna be in that vicinity, we have a lot of 4x8s, let's put it that way. If we start to include a stripe down the side, now we're losing message
Put it
area.
on the top.
Put it on the top is fine.
That's what we just talked about.
Yeah, well, we've
It
spoken
can
about
be,
both.
no, yeah, but it
If
can
it's
be
on the
on
top, yeah, and then you have a 4x8 footprint for the sign, so, because I was noticing that one on Wisteria, it's kind of hard to read, because there's two things up there. We have the beach blast and we have Memorial Day, so you have basically a 4 by each side, and it's a lot harder to read than if it were one 4x8. So I'm just concerned that we get these things in a high traffic area, high speed, and people run by them and can't read them. That's my only concern, is that we can keep the signage big enough that they can be read at 30 miles an hour.
Okay, anything else to discover? That's taken, but I think that putting the logo on the top
Sure.
saves that. Any other discussion, anybody else have any problem with that? So if we get a resolution or an ordinance, how do we do that? Tony, what do we need, an ordinance?
I would do it by resolution,
By
but it doesn't
resolution?
require you to
Put it in
actually
the
take
law,
the
yeah.
legal.
I would do it by resolution, that way if we wanted,
Okay,
it's
so we take a
easily
resolution
changed.
on that, and also for those of you that are in the room, we will, if you have any discussion that you want to discuss on this, we will tonight during citizen input, at the end of the meeting, if you want to get up and voice something about the sign, we'll do that. We're not gonna go into an hour discussion, we got 5 minutes, we'll discuss it though, okay? We're not gonna get into debates about it, we're going to go into momentary discussion. Kelly. I'm looking at you, your eyes are just wide.
She doesn't have a report to give.
Well, and I think to Dave's point though, I think we've got to get more targeted at what we're putting on the sign. We don't need a whole bunch of fluff. It's got to be the message we want. We have an event, it's this time, it's this day, this is what it's about, boom, we're done.
Well, I don't know that we can control
It's
the
up to you.
content, yeah, because that's gonna control their content, and I don't think we can control what it looks like, but the
That's only a
actual content-
suggestion. If you want
Yeah.
more people to see it as they go flying by,
Oh, no,
it needs
I
to be,
agree.
that's only a suggestion.
Right.
I
No,
don't
no,
want any,
I'm not
I do
saying
not
no.
want any part of that. I'll just tell you.
There is an opening.
Yeah, no. I'm open enough, thank you.
Thought we had a traffic
Okay,
law, people didn't just fly by.
Right.
So are we good on that, then, and then you have direction on where you need to,
We'll come up with
go
a
on it?
policy to adopt.
I think you know what, I think we've made a pretty big step on that. The city's gonna look a lot better. We're gonna have the uniformity across the board of our signs. I just think it's gonna be, I think that's a win-win for
The
everybody.
branding is very important.
Yeah.
There are many people that think
But I-
these events
and I think we
happen
do have-
without city.
right, I think we
They
do
have
have
no
to look
idea.
into getting stencils made for that logo, so that, because I just think if they're gonna paint that gold, we gotta see what we can do about that. Or decals or something to make it easy to be used.
We'll see what's
Gold on the
possible.
room background, yeah, we gotta see what's possible, so we appreciate you checking that. Okay, now we'll go over our ongoing projects.
Ongoing projects,
All right.
ongoing projects.
Town Center Working Plan, CPL should have a finalized comprehensive update shortly. They're still working, it's a lot to put together. The shopping district is in review, very close to being done. So, we're still coordinating with all groups there. The joint city and county plans, I know there was an IGR meeting where there was a discussion held. I think it's just very important that we push SPLOST and talk with the citizenry about everything we've accomplished and what we want to accomplish. That type of support and city-county cooperation is very important.
On that, at that meeting, it was discussed that we need by June 1st to have a project list. So I think that we need to have a meeting to discuss that project list so that we have.
I'll have a draft out for you this week, a draft list, and you guys can provide input.
Okay, and then we just put it on our next work session to
Okay.
finalize it. We have one more in May, right? Yeah.
Correct. Town Center Public Relations, had an update meeting with Jeremy. We're gonna take a big step on May the 17th. We will be at at Wesley Hall, or I call it a multipurpose room, over at the Snellville United Methodist Church. Went over there for a setup today. Chairs in classroom style. We'll have a projector and a screen and a microphone up front, and it will be really set up for input from the public and our citizens.
I had a discussion today with Butch about, we wanted to do a mass mailer in the city. We thought it would be a good idea if we did a mailer to all the homeowners. And you could do zip code 30078, it's 12,000 homes in 30078, because there's some that are not in the city.
12,000 homes,
12,000 mailings,
so that's business and,
I would imagine. Yeah.
okay.
Okay, and that was gonna be about $5,000, so that was a little cost prohibitive, so we didn't really wanna do that. I called him today and asked him to look and see if he could do it, one for us for less money if he just did registered voters. And, I think he has not called me back quoting, but I spoke with Barbara and about what it cost us when we did that. And during an election, that usually costs you about $2,400.
It's about 18 to 22.
18, depending on the size of the flyer, $1,800 to $2,200. So, but figure a maximum of $2,500. Is that something we feel that we should do to get the message out? I think it's very important that we get as many people at that meeting as we possibly can.
How many was that covered?
That's about 2,500
Deliveries.
addresses.
Addresses, 2,500 addresses.
Well, no, I'm sorry.
There's 5,000.
5,000 addresses. It's 11,000 voters, 5,000 addresses. So, that to me is a little bit more reasonable. It's an expense, but this is a very big thing. When we, as you all know, I'm speaking to the choir, when we campaigned last year, Town Center was #1. So, we're moving on it, we're moving quick. I think we need to get the input of as many citizens as we can, so that if anything comes up later, we can say that we tried to get as much input as we possibly could before we move forward. And I want to have as much input as we possibly can and know what the people are, what their expectations are, as we move, before we, sign documents and move forward. So, it's an investment. But I think it's an investment we need, at this point, we need to make if we really want the people there. I don't think we're gonna get a second chance at it.
Would the mailers hit before the 17th?
Absolutely. Well, we will make sure they do.
They need to be done.
That's what I'm
They need to
thinking.
be done.
I mean, we're talking about 4, 5, if you count
6
Saturday,
days.
6 mailing
Yeah,
days.
6 mailing days, and you really want it to hit within 2 or 3 of the days of that, you know what I mean? There's gonna be other publicity about it. Just want that to hit like, kinda at the last minute.
Since Snellville UMC, and maybe you guys can help me with this, are they doing anything internally because of, have they offered to do anything? Do we ask them to do anything as far as letting the congregation in a blast know that this thing is going on, since a lot of the congregation there would possibly be city residents or people tied to the city somehow? It's just another effort to
It wouldn't
get,
hurt to do that to all the churches, to be honest with you.
right, and that's thinking this one, because pretty much all churches have a one-button click announcement how they do things. I assume that you probably do, so. So if you have, I guess, contacts within the churches and even Brian, if you can maybe do some of that too,
Yes,
if they're
yeah.
willing to, you know, send out a
I mean,
little
I
blast
think
for us.
that-
I think the churches wanna know,
Sure.
and I think the churches, you know, hopefully would be willing to at least help us spread the word.
I would love to see, you know, Butch says he likes to, was 100 people, Butch? You'd like to see 100 people?
200.
I'd like to see 400.
Well, those are, you know, those may be very simple ways to,
We also have Nixle, can we use that?
Are we gonna do Code Red?
And
yeah.
then we have
Well,
that,
and I'm doing a robocall. But, you know, robocalls are robocalls, you know what I mean, but we're gonna do one, so. We're trying every way we can to get the word out.
We've got a banner that goes up on the concrete structure on Wisteria tomorrow.
Yeah, I
All the
saw the
message
message
boards are
board
out.
on Oak Road.
It's a matter of all of those things, so, what are your thoughts on the mailer?
Can you send me what the mailer looks like
Did you not get it?
Yes, you'll get it in your mail.
in the mail?
Yeah, we'll get it, you get it next week.
Get it with you.
Do we have a,
Is there one in our mailbox? Is
No.
that what? Oh,
no.
No.
she was trying to-
I saw a, do you have
She
a
said
picture
you'll have
of
one in
Brian,
your
of the mailer?
Oh, you guys already have it.
Is that the one that came in the email today?
I'm
I didn't get
sorry.
an email, I didn't.
I didn't get an email today. I don't know that, it's been sent out because of the money, we didn't know whether it was gonna go or not. It basically looks a lot like the front of, or like, you know, the picture of the town center from the book. Okay, while you're doing that, please, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Let's see, public relations broadcasting, but we're starting work on smaller focused items. The videos, I know Steve has some scheduled. The brochures, from everything I could tell, were a hit at Snellville Days. And so we're continuing to move on. Town hall meeting should be a very positive thing, so we're working hard on PR.
We're having a meeting tomorrow on the town hall,
Yeah.
on content.
Yeah. The COOP, I think we're gonna try to be ready for the first reading next meeting. The city compensation survey, we held our budget meetings. I think the budget was well received. We're looking at a public hearing at the next meeting. I'll have some more final information for everybody later this week, and we're looking at a June budget adoption. Website update, all we can say is it's in progress and everything has been positive so far. Any new, really, it's just being worked on internally. Christie was happy to see that done next
My
to.
role is done.
I told her her work is never done regarding this item,
Amen.
but it was, when it comes to getting it organized and put in place, that is done. And great
Well
job,
done.
everybody. Tree replacement at DDR, there is a discussion underway. They have, I guess, been to court, and internal discussion going on regarding what they need to do. One thing I want to clear up in the last meeting, there has never been a discussion about interparcel access in the past. Never showed up on a plat. We double checked it, so there's nothing defined there. It's just never been, I don't know how it popped up, but it hasn't been around before. Town hall meetings, as we said, May 17th were set. Citizen Academy, you will have an agenda in June. We can start recruiting folks there. This sign ordinance update, I had it on here because of the discussion we had earlier. I am taking that off and moving it to the UDO, which will be a part of the UDO development, all sign regulations. Baker's Rock, we have a new tour date set as of this morning. It's May 24th at 10 a.m. Sign up through Lisa's office, and we'll have a good walk that day. Hopefully the weather will be better. Teacher internship program, that's something that's going to probably be delayed till the next school year, I would think. So UDO, stakeholder interviews went well. We got good input from important folks. I think there's some follow-up phone calls going on. I think, Christie, you've got one from Caleb. appreciate everybody's time there. That process will start to gain speed now as we move forward. Charter Review Committee, there's an internal meeting to take place tomorrow to go over some items. Everything is still on track for getting that item done for the next legislative session. eBay sales, Bobby, we had sold about $8,500 for 3 seized and 2 surplus vehicles. We'll keep you updated on that. That's ongoing. Regulation of fireworks retail, we have the first reading tonight. We feel like that's an ordinance that addresses what we wanted to as far as location, and it addresses the needs of the industry.
Which need to hand something out with that.
Okay, good.
And what this is the draft of an ordinance for this. Basically, it is changing the zoning ordinances. And what I've given you on the top, the first pages are the actual proposed ordinance. And then behind it, Jason and John Dennis worked very hard on this, and it's actually got redlined, and I did screen for the color ink, and it shows you the changes to the existing text that the ordinance is going to make. So if you would just look over those when you get a chance, and any input would be appreciated.
Sounds like we won't be billed for the expensive copies then. But it has been a lot of work on the staff's part and on the attorney's office part, and we appreciate that teamwork, that's for sure.
So this is what we're doing the first read on tonight,
It is.
and then the second read will be in next
And
week.
there, I think it's identical to the packet version that came out from the planning commission, and so it really is in your packet in sort of the same format. But the new format is what's on the top copy, I think.
Okay.
There are some changes to, I think, section 910, which is the BG district. And this is a newer version. It's going to be on the website, and once John updated that, we made those changes today as far as the corridor zone for
The discussion the other day.
Yeah.
Senior Center R&D, that's tied up with the rec consultant. We had a meeting, Councilman Marmol, Councilwoman Linsky, Lisa Platt and myself, we have decided on a consultant there. We'll be bringing them on board. Their first job is going to be Oak Road Park. They've already submitted homework in this regard, and we're in the first step there is going to be a property owner meeting. We're going to get everybody here and discuss where we've been in the process, what they're interested in seeing, and give our planners and engineers an opportunity to take that all in. So that'll be the next step we hear about. Roundabout construction, some of the new items here. We have begun property acquisition, but we've held it up until we can have a clear discussion with everybody in the 2 roundabout areas. And I do need a short executive session regarding that item.
Can we change the name of that item to the Bender roundabouts?
Well, I did put
Let's wait till after property acquisition.
Councilwoman Bender is the liaison manager.
But the vendor votes.
Bender about.
Yeah.
As I said earlier, the FY17 SPLOST planning, you'll have that preliminary list to kick around sometime this week. City-county cooperation, of course, very important. And cooperation and conversation with the other cities. I think we're off to a good start, but one of the reasons I love Gwinnett County is because all the cities get together and have good discussions. Oak Road sidewalk, the work began today. They are starting from both ends. It is a 120-day construction schedule. Talked to a couple of property owners tonight, and I think we're in good shape there.
Barrels are in place.
Excuse me?
The barrels are in place.
Well, there's and this is part of the same group that did North Road, and I feel like they did a good job on North Road. And so I think we had a good pre-con meeting with a handful of property owners, and then we'll continue to reach out there. In the 78-124 project, right-of-way acquisition is still in progress by the state. We do, and we know, we got a new project manager last week. Davita White is no longer there, but according to DOT, they're still working on that IGA for sign and signal bridges. Chief attended a meeting a couple weeks ago, and we confirmed that earlier today. So that's about it there.
Butch, where are we on the Highway 78 sidewalks?
We are down to one property owner, and we think we might be able to skirt their property. So we're close to bidding that.
Any other discussion items for council before we go into exec session? During the work session of the mayor and city council of Snellville, Georgia, Mayor Ritz announced certain